Now, despite what you may think, however much I didn't like The Phantom Menace, I think that Attack of the Clones is actually worse. Not only because nothing was learnt from the feedback of The Phantom Menace, but this movie has not got anything interesting going on, and you could argue that it is even less. It's not very nice to look at, it's not very interesting to listen to, the wooden acting is still there from the last movie, as well as the bad writing, which would matter to me if I gave a toss about what was happening, and I really don't. But anyway, what happens? After an assassination attempt on Padme's life, she heads to see the new Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, who is discussing with the Jedi what to do about the former Jedi Count Dooku creating a droid army. Palpatine suggests to Amidala that she should be under the protection of the Jedi, and specifically Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. After another assassination attempt on Padme, Obi-Wan and Anakin set off on a chase to capture the assassin, and once she is captured, a dart is fired and kills her. Anakin is then sent off-world with Padme to her home planet of Naboo, and in order to keep her safe. Obi-Wan then goes to a 50s diner on Coruscant, and then finds out that the dart comes from a planet called Kamino. After some awkward talks with the Jedi Temple Librarian and Yoda, Obi-Wan heads off to Kamino, where he finds out that a clone army is being made in secret from the Republic under the orders of Jedi Master Sifo Dyas. On Naboo, Anakin and Padme's relationship starts to form, but Anakin getting his nightmares about his mother dying on Tatooine, so he decides to go and find out for herself and takes Padme with him. On Kamino, Obi-Wan finds this clone template, Jango Fett, whose armor looks remarkably similar to that of the bounty hunter that killed the assassin. After reporting this to the council, he goes to capture Jango for questioning, but he escapes, prompting Obi-Wan to chase him. Back on Coruscant, the Senate vote to create a clone army to utilize it to fight Count Dooku's droid army. On Tatooine, Anakin finds out his mother has been sold to her family, but is captured by Tusken Raiders, which makes Anakin kill all Tuskens in the village. Obi-Wan chases Jango to the planet called Geonosis, where he finds out that the droid army is being formed and alerts the council so they can use the clone army to intervene, but Anakin sees this message and decides to help out as well, which results both him, Obi-Wan and Padme for that matter being captured. After being attacked in the arena by some aliens, the Jedi show up and a massive battle between Jedi and droids takes place, but this attempt gets thwarted when they get captured, but Yoda with the army of clone troopers comes in to rescue them. A massive battle then takes place on Geonosis to try and destroy the droid factory, and Obi-Wan and Anakin intercept Dooku, who is trying to escape. Obi-Wan is injured and Anakin loses his arm, and then Yoda turns up and tries to prevent Dooku from escaping but fails. The clone troopers then are shipped off across the galaxy, consequently starting the Clone Wars, and Anakin and Padme get married in secret. Now, although this movie has more going on than the last one, there is still a lot of political talks and war talks that you just can't follow in this movie, as well as the acting still being really wooden and not very interesting to listen to. And they've also added some really corny romantic dialogue between Anakin and Padme that is just so cringe to listen to. I remember watching this movie back just recently while I was doing these videos, and I just remember just punching my leg, trying just to make it go numb because of how much cringe I was feeling while listening to that dialogue. But I don't know if it's the actors as a problem, or whether it's the director. This is George's second time doing this, so he should be more used to what people are after what he said about the Phantom Menace. And even they changed the Anakin actor, but the new one, they still have it's still just as bad, if not worse. But I don't know whether it's, no, I don't blame these actors for how they're saying these lines. You know, they're hard lines to read, but with actors putting a lot of trust in their directors, an unfocused director can easily mislead the actors, so I don't know what it is. And on top of this, CGI that looked fake in the previous film somehow looks even worse in this one. How is that possible? You know, Yoda is now a CGI model. In episode 1 when it was first released, it was a puppet. It was not a very good puppet, but it was a puppet nonetheless. Even they said that, even the people who were making the movie said that it was a bad puppet. But now it's a CGI model, and whenever you see him in a room with another character, like Mace Windu for example, you always get the impression that Samuel Jackson is looking at nothing. And not only does it look like he isn't there, he looks even faker than Jar Jar did in the last one. How do you manage that? It looks like they made the model for Yoda and then just textured it with colour and no detail. Even Jar Jar in the previous movie had texture detail on him, so you can somewhat look past it and say that he is actually there. But with Yoda you can't overlook it, and because it's used so much, you get to see the flaws in it. 90% of environments that were made in the prequel trilogy are in front of a green screen. I'll mention this in the Revenge of the Sith review, but the fights with Anakin and Obi-Wan on Mustafar, that is all green screens. There's nothing real in that scene aside from the boardwalk that they're walking on and they're fighting on. There's nothing real in that scene at all. It's all CG. I think the only good part about this movie is the gunfight at the end between the clones and the droids. Not only is there no dumb dialogue to listen to, but it's also really well shot, it's really well acted, even though it's all CG. But considering it's all CG, it looks amazing. It generally looks like a war field. This is what I want to see in Star Wars, not political talks in a Senate. You know, I could say that the lightsaber fight at the end is also entertaining and nice to look at between Anakin and Obi-Wan against Dooku, and then the fight between Dooku and Yoda. And I would say that is cool as well, but the CG on Yoda still irritates me. You still get the feeling that Christopher Lee is looking at nothing. And whilst watching these movies again, and look, I was looking at reviews on them on YouTube just to like help me format and how I wanted to format these like reviews, because they're only short reviews. But it was a point that was mentioned to me that I actually now agree with. What is the point of this movie and the last one? When you think about it, there really isn't any. You can watch Revenge of the Sith and see that the Republic are at war with a droid army called the Separatists, and the Republic army is made up of clones. Anakin Skywalker is getting nightmares about his wife dying and is trying to do everything he can to save her, which means turning to the dark side and becoming Darth Vader. With a few tweaks to this movie by adding a couple plot elements from the previous movies that set up Revenge of the Sith, you can watch it and understand completely what's going on. Especially now that the Clone Wars exists, because it explains a lot of stuff from episodes 1 and 2, and it does a so much better job of doing it, and in more of an interesting way that's easy to follow and easy to understand. But again, is this the worst thing it's ever created? No. Are there things that could have been done better? Definitely. But in my opinion, I don't think you can enjoy this movie for how bad it is. Phantom Menace had the advantage that it was spectacularly bad on such a huge level, bad on the level that you can laugh at how bad it is. But this movie is just a boring, And if I were you, this is the movie that you can just miss.